Hey guys, welcome to a new video, and this is going to be about this and this.
Archie Andrews, Betty Cooper, and Veronica Lodge, you're under arrest for the cold-blooded murder of my son, Jughead Jones.
So, I don't know about you, but if I would get arrested for the murder of my best friend and or boyfriend, I would not look this calm, let's say the least. Betty is looking like she forgot half of the plan. Veronica looks like she has just witnessed someone kicking a puppy. And Archie be looking like he's shitting his pants. So, I don't know about you, but a lot of people think a lot of different things about what has happened. So, I thought it might be a good idea to maybe talk about what people on the internet have been thinking. Some things are weird, and there's this one thing that I believe everyone thinks that has happened. So, I thought we'd make a talk about that. So, basically, the first theory is that Jughead actually died, which is highly unlikely because if they would do that, they would lose 50% of their audience, and from what I know, you cannot kill off a narrator, but you know, that may be my knowledge failing. People think he may be dead because the ghoulies are coming back, or his mother is back being the drug lord she is. Like, you never know. Then you also have the theories about that he faked his own death, which is what I think is likely because, honestly, it's Riverdale and everything in Riverdale is weird, and in episode 405, if you haven't seen that, you should probably click away. But there's this competition about a book, and it's like an anonymous writer, and that at least there are different writers writing a series of a book under a name that's none of theirs. So they are trying to look for a new writer, and Jughead, of course, really wants to be that new writer because that's his dream. So they have to write 30 chapters about the perfect murder. And wouldn't Jughead be this extra dramatic to actually create his own death? That is what most people think. I think this is what's happening because it will be the only logical reason that Betty and FP weren't freaking out when they saw his body. That FP is arresting Betty, Archie, and Veronica, and none of them looks like they care. So people think, and I also think, that Jughead made this plan and has asked to FP, Betty, Archie, and Veronica to play their role that he has written in the story. And I think this is to prove to the other prep school brats that he is worth something. I don't know. I think he's just extra and he really wants that. Other people think that he faked his own death because he was threatened by either Penny, the ghoulies, or his mother, which I would which would be highly unlikely because how many times have things like that happened in the past and he did not fake his own death. So I don't think that's what's happened. But it's Riverdale. You never know what happens. So I have seen a lot of theories on Instagram and Twitter, and so there's this theory on an Instagram account that's called @BookheadsPaper, and it says, what if this entire time Jughead being dead thing is really just his story? The theme of the story he needs to write becomes the next Ghost Rider. If the perfect murder, so what if the perfect murder is his own and all these flashbacks are just seeing the story from being acted out? There have been theories since season 1 that Riverdale, like the show, is just all Jughead's story and his imagination. So it would make sense that maybe it's really his story because he's also the narrator, and it would just make sense, I guess, because in season 1 you had his novel he was writing about Jason Blossom, and he also narrated, like, I think more in season 1 than he did in the other seasons, and it would just make sense that he wrote the story for this contest and that it's just the story acted out, which would make a lot of sense. But then you can also argue that that it only is season 4 where it's acted out, or the whole series is acted out from Jughead's perspective and Jughead's imagination, which would mean that everything that has happened in Riverdale would not have happened in real life. So you real life, like Riverdale outside of Jughead's imagination, which would mean that we wouldn't know what's really going on. And if this would be the case, I think we would find out in a series finale. But that's also possible, and that could be linked with the theory that it's what we see now are actually flashbacks from the flash forwards we see. Other theory from @GaraReese490 on Twitter, and she basically says, okay, hear me out, this is what I'm thinking, this is my theory. Jughead has to write about the perfect murder. What better murder to write about than his own? Who better to be under suspicion than the 3 people he's closest to? What better murder to write about than one that doesn't happen? Jughead realizes in order to have the prep school jerks take him seriously is to write about his own murder and to have it brought to life. Jughead asks Betty, FB, Archie, and Veronica to play their parts. They all play along, adding different players as they go along. It all begins by getting rid of evidence, burning of Jughead's beanie, which we saw in the last episode of season 3, staging a search. Have seen it in the promo and in one of the first episodes. They find his body, and with FB and Betty confirming it in a flash forward that they identify the body, but it could really be Dr. Girdle Jr. making a wax figure of Jug. So what we see would not be Jug's body. They stage an arrest, the flash forward at the end of 405. It's a theory, not saying it's true. I could be wrong, but with every flash forward there's always a hint. The first one being FB says this will be a good year. We then see everyone searching for Jughead. The next flash forward, Jug tells Betty he believes if he ever did go missing, he knows he would find him, which was not a flash forward, which was just a normal storyline after he got out of the coffin and stuff. And then we have a flash forward of Betty and FB identifying Jug's corpse, which Betty may have found. Now this episode we have the prep teacher saying that they have to write a perfect murder. We see a flash forward of FB arresting Betty, Archie, and Veronica for murdering Jughead, who better to have under suspicion for his murder than the 3 most unlikely people. Now back to what I said earlier about the perfect murder not happening. Jug decides to film it. hidden cameras and the live setup by Betty, potentially adding in Alice or Charles. He decides to document it, a small group in on the whole thing. His story is brought to life in film, showing how talented he is. The rest of the season has been said will be the aftermath of it. The shock of that Jughead was never dead. Honestly, if the writers could come up with this, I don't even know if they would come up with this if you have seen like the season 2 and season 3 storylines. I don't know if they would come up with this, but this would actually make a lot of sense. I don't know about the whole filming and documenting part because faking your own death, I think it's outstanding enough. But you know, they're actually just 2 main theories that you can divide in your own imagination, like he's really dead, which is highly unlikely, and he faked his own death with Betty, Archie, Veronica, and FB. So let me know in the comments what you think, because I'm really curious about what other people think, but I think we're all on the same line or approximately the same line. So let me know what you think, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more Riverdale related videos, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like this video and you would like more of these theory videos. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!